to enter a new, a new, a new
Hello all. Something a little bit different for the evening, huh? I said I was going to wear a silly outfit, so I thought what better way than to wear something like this, so hope you're all doing well. Hey there Neil, how you doing? Hope you're well, hope you all got your gameplay skills sort of ready for your stream in a little bit, so hey there Era 42, how you doing? Hope you're all doing good this evening. We've got a little bit of a change of plan because as I found out earlier on, the guys from see what's going on, yeah, Mad Pete. Well, I've been a little bit silly this evening, so it's Christmas, so I thought let's just wear a silly little outfit, so I was hardly going to do Santa Claus, so yeah, I hope you're all good though. So yeah, so tonight a little bit, not quite an elf, but it'll do. Yeah, exactly, Era 42. So this is about as close as it's gonna get. So yeah, so but yes, all just a bit of a laugh, really. So. But yeah, so tonight I was planning on doing some gaming, but I'm just going to do a little bit of a sum up of this year. Hey there, Phil, how you doing? Hope you're well. So yes, I was going to do some gaming, but instead I'm just going to work on some of my artwork that I've been working on, so that way later on I can just sort of chill out, watch Neil and the rest of the guys from the Retro Hour, Dan and Ravi and Joe, and it's a good look, is it, Neil? Thank you. So Merry Christmas, Josh Doty. Yes, Merry Christmas everybody. So and yeah, so I can't believe it's this time of year again already. So yes, awesome cosplay indeed. Well, I just thought, wow, what can I do? It's Christmas, and I do have an elf hat, but it's not really an entire costume, so I just thought I'll dig out what I did for Halloween again. So, so yes, it's second debut, shall we say? So, yeah, so I'm just going to do a bit of artwork tonight. In the end, I think so, because that way I can just listen to, like I say, Neil and guys doing their bits and pieces. I'll be on in the background, but there won't be any sort of chat, as it were. So yeah, it's only going to be a chat for about an hour or so, guys. So less than a minute in, and you've got a pint and a go already, says Era 42. Oh, well, hang on a minute. there's no way you're getting me into this outfit without, you know, some sort of shall we say, encouragement. So this is not my usual attire, as you well know. So although that said, I did do it for Halloween without a single drop of drink, so how I managed that I don't know, but there you go. So but yeah, I just thought it'd be a bit of fun. So yeah, so a little bit of a change. So great to see you all here anyway. So just to sum up, really, 2019 has been a really awesome year. It's going to be a year that marked a big change, basically, insofar as what I'm going to be doing in the future going forwards, with obviously the big move to Japan coming up next year. So yeah, which is really exciting. So I found out yesterday actually whereabouts I'm actually headed to, so which is really exciting. So some of you may already know sort of roughly the area that I'm going to, but yeah, it's I've been waiting patiently. I still obviously don't have a date yet, but I've been waiting very patiently for an email, give me some kind of idea of where I'll be heading to. And one of the areas that I'd always hoped that I would be going to in the north would be sort of around Aomori or Akita or Tohoku or anywhere sort of around there was really rare. Sort of really spoke to me, or even Hokkaido was all good with me as far as I was concerned. So, but so it was a bit of a question as to sort of where I was going to be headed to. Anyway, I found out yesterday that I'm actually headed to Morioka, which I may actually be in the city itself, or I might actually be somewhere nearby, sort of another town or another village or something like that. But yeah, so I'm headed up to, well, I suppose essentially the far north of Horseshoe Island. So yeah, terribly exciting. Oh, the music's a bit loud. Sorry, I forgot to turn it down. There you go. Sorry, Phil. Thanks for flagging it up. I completely forgot to turn it down. So that's also a reason for celebration, is finding out that where I'm going, basically. So that's all good news. Obviously next year I do post more updates on Patreon, because obviously it's just a way of paying back a little bit more to the people that obviously like Phil, for example, and Just 80 who are here this evening. Sort of what I get up to, really, a bit more of the inside track, shall we say. So the plan is obviously to still eventually be doing streaming in Japan, but obviously I have no idea when it's going to start, really. It could be 2 to 3 months, maybe more, after actually arriving there. It just depends how quickly I get settled in. I've really got to sort of make sure that I knuckle down onto sort of what I'm primarily going there to do, which is teaching. But tonight was planned as a bit of my sort of last gaming stream. One of the things that I posted in Patreon earlier on this week was, or maybe it was a week before, was just why I haven't been streaming a lot lately. And the main thing is that basically I've just been really incredibly busy and just planning all the stuff for the trip next year. So that's basically why, and this was going to be sort of pretty much my last sort of game stream for, well, quite some time. Obviously that's not quite happening this evening now, but the main reason is that whilst I've been enjoying doing sort of like the streaming, the games and stuff, it's become, I don't know, it's distracted from sort of what I enjoy most about doing the gaming, basically, in a way. I've kind of actually enjoyed actually having just some time to myself, playing whatever it is and whatever system it is. So chances are there won't be many games being played going forwards, but occasionally I might do 1 or 2 streams that are based on games and so forth. So I'll be really interested to hear what your highlights of 2019 are, guys. Do share them in the chat. I may know about them, but otherwise just let me know what your highlights were. So my highlights, I mean, obviously the big one is obviously the fact that Japan is something that is actually happening now. I've gotten over the fear of what could happen, you know, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that, so that's all good. And also the other big highlight for me has been two things actually. The first one was Amiga Island way back in January of 2019. I can't wait to go to next year's event, which is only in a matter of weeks' time. I know Pete, who's in the chat, or was a moment ago, he's coming along, so if any of you guys are going to Amiga Island, do throw that again in the chat as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that event again. But yeah, the 2019 event was really excellent and good enough for me to say yes, I'm going to go again. So that's been really awesome. The second thing I've really enjoyed this year has been the swag meetings. They've been awesome. So you know, I think I've been to all 3 this year. I think there was 3 anyway. I think there was one in January, maybe May, and then maybe September. So it seems about right anyway. So yeah, so those have been my real highlights of this year really. There's been lots of other things as well. You know, yeah, so yeah, Pete's still here and he's going. So yeah, so I really look forward to meeting you, Pete. So you'll probably recognise me because I'll be the one no, I won't be wearing this. So but yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be really exciting to go. There's a small possibility that I might be, I don't know, doing a little talk there or something about obviously my artwork or something, but if I'm not, then obviously I'll be on hand to answer any questions or whatever you might have about whatever it is you're doing, or just generally to have a chat and a drink. And yeah, so it's gonna be good. So yeah, so 2019 has been really eventful in more ways than one. It's been a real learning curve for me. It's always surprising. I mean, this year I turned 36, and so don't look a day over 59. And yeah, it's amazing how even after, you know, when you sort of think, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my life all sussed out by, you know, 30 or something like that, but life has continued to yeah, it's continued to evolve life, I suppose, shall we say. You know, you've learned, I learn new things about what I enjoy all the time, you know, but maybe I'm also getting just back in touch with the things that I've always really enjoyed, but, you know, just haven't had the time for, or just, you know, put aside for no real reason other than life just moved on. And so, yeah, the past few years, the past few months have been really great. In fact, the last couple of years have been amazing because I've met all you guys and that. So whether it's through Twitter or if it's through YouTube or if it's actual events and stuff. So I have to say that to each and every one of you, thank you so much for being so welcoming to myself in the retro community. I am a noodler. I am a doodler as well, but yeah, well, yeah, that actually, to be fair, that would be my third highlight. It says me holding up 2 fingers. Third with an extra one. It's just I'm worried that if I can't quite stretch the finger. I don't have that dexterity. It's funny, isn't it? When you hold your finger down like that, you can't quite stretch that finger there. Anyway, yes, yeah. The third thing was definitely a highlight. Was actually going to the Retro Man Cave and seeing Ian Hoffman DJing live, which, you know, just goes to show that there is exceptional talent there in the Amiga community, and it just always brings such joy to me to see not only the guys like Neil who help restore and maintain and you know, put the message out there about any machine, not just the Amiga, any classic console or computer or whatever, restoring them, bringing them back to their best, and all the rest of it is an incredibly important thing. So, but then to actually have the icing on the cake where you see somebody so talented like Ian, you know, using those Amiga 600s in that case, and to a level of which I would go to a gig and pay good money to go and see somebody do that, and to be invited there to be part of that stream was an exceptional memory, and one that I know that I already look back fondly on and will continue to look back fondly on for many years to come. So thank you. But yes, I was bopping away. You know, that's totally my thing. Yeah, so it was yeah, not me dancing. Yeah, you don't need that. Merry Christmas, Robert. How are you? I hope you're well. So I know that this is possibly not the most interesting stream, just me gabbling on about what I found good, a bit bit what's the word, is it nepotistic? You know, like when you're talking about yourself. That's not really my thing, really, to be honest with you. So but yeah, but I just wanted to sort of sum up, because this will be my last stream until the new year now, and as I go into new year, I'm basically gonna have to box everything up here. It's all gonna have to go in storage. I'm probably gonna have to move out before you know, my actual date to leave comes around. So frankly, I've got some very good friends who have been very good at saying that there's always a room for you here, somewhere to kip. So that's grand. So yes, it's going to be a very, very busy few months at the start of next year, which is one of the reasons why I won't be able to stream as much, unfortunately. And of course, obviously, as soon as I've moved out of here, then I'm not going to have fibre broadband. I'm not going to have the equipment to do the streaming, really. So the best way of keeping in touch with me will be through the videos that I upload onto YouTube, which I'm beginning to get into a bit more of a regular routine with it. I was hoping to have another one out just before Christmas, but instead I'm focusing on the Patreon only video, which I'm going to put out tomorrow. But yeah, so yes, yeah, I totally agree, Paul. Area 42, that is. Meeting new people with similar interests is definitely one of the best things I've done this year, and face-to-face too, not just in chat. Absolutely agree. Those face-to-face meetings are what I love so much about being part of this community. In fact, that's what I like in any of the things that I enjoy in life. I enjoy face-to-face conversations. That's been, you know, one of the things that I always enjoyed back in the day. With the Amiga community, which I was mostly involved with, didn't really have user groups for like Super Nintendo and PlayStation stuff. It just didn't exist really, but that was more something that you had with your own friends. But yeah, so I totally agree that, you know, meeting people like yourself and many others has been fabulous. So yeah. Hey there, the Lemminkainen. Sorry if I pronounced your handle wrong. Always a bit of a running jump with some of these things, isn't it? So nice. Hey Jan, how you doing? So nice haircut. A few days ago, the anime girl did wear your clothing. Today you're wearing hers. Well, yes, that's true. No, I was going to wear a silly outfit tonight, and this is the silly outfit. So it was just that I don't have anything really that Christmas. You know, I've got an elf hat, but that's not really the same. So I thought, oh, what the heck? Let's just basically wear the cosplay, the character that I spent most of the year, well, the latter part of this year drawing. So yeah, so it's going to be an interesting few months. So yeah, Amiga Ireland and the Swag meeting in January is going to be the very last one. So yeah, Amiga events that I actually get to go to. I know that there is a Play Expo in Margate, which is, I think that might be February time. I might be wrong. So yes. So those will be pretty much the last events that I get to go to. So I pronounced it really well. Oh, thank you. Well, oh dear, I tried my best. So I for once actually got it right. So hey there, Phil. Ahoy. How you doing? So yeah, so that's been my highlights. I mean, obviously, if you've got any more highlights about your 2019. Just throw it down in the chat. It'd be lovely to sort of mention it and so forth. So, but yeah, otherwise, I'm already feeling like this wig is doing my head in, quite literally. And so, how I wore this for a whole day for Halloween, I have no idea. I don't know. I suppose by the evening I actually started, obviously we went out with friends to Weatherspoons, so a classy night out in Worthing, and yeah, so I guess that tended to distract me from the feeling of wearing this. But yes, the whatever it is that the hair is made from, this nylon, it is, oh man, it itches. So yeah, so really what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to be sort of, you know, on the voice chat, shall we say, for 40 minutes, and I'm just going to move the stream onto full screen because, as I say, Neil, Retro Man Cave, is doing a stream with the guys from the Retro Hour Dan, Ravi and Joe, and they're going to be doing some gaming. I'm sure you'll want to watch that, I'll want to watch that, and yeah, so I'll just be on in the background doing a bit of pixel art, to be honest with you. So what have I been doing? So let's take the focus off of me for a moment, because I have to say I feel hell of embarrassed dressed up as Landmarse. Yeah. Why I thought this is a good idea, I don't know. So don't worry, I'm not that strange. I'm just myself. So, so let's show you what I've been up to. I started working on some new Evangelion stuff because I do have a good idea now of what I'd like to do for. Let's just come back off that a moment. I do have a good idea now of what I'm going to do for Amiga Island in terms of graphics. It's either going to be, if I can find the time, I've got a nice idea for something based on your name. I've been fiddling about with Deluxe Paint and looking at the low res interlace mode. Mostly because you can use extra half bright on it. So I just bring this up. One of the things that people often forget about Deluxe Paint is it does actually scale your tools to basically be in sort of actual circles. So even though if you're in interlace mode, it will actually draw a proper circle. You know, you're not getting these half circles, as it were, which you would expect to get from interlace mode, because you would half imagine that Deluxe Paint is gonna sort of basically not do proper proportions. The same thing as if I sort of, draw an actual square by holding down the shift key. It's pretty good at actually maintaining the aspect ratio, which is nice. Channeling the far show there, which was nice. And so basically I've got a nice idea for something based on your name. Now the chances are that filling up all these pixels is going to not quite make it for the deadline, which I believe is something like the 8th of January. Is something strange like a Thursday, but I guess that, I don't want to say this. I'm guessing that Erla and Rob and the other guys involved with Amiga Island, they've got to have time to... No, I keep on saying this. I'm not actually reading what the requester is saying, so sorry. Yeah, let's click no on that. So my backup plan is a graphic that's based on Evangelion, which I actually started doing back at the start of, I want to say the start of the year, but maybe it was a little bit later than that. I forget now, but as you can see, I do have Deluxe Paint 4 already running in the background. So, and of course, obviously, all the audio tonight is coming from the Amiga again. So if I just load this up in ViewTech. Might do something based on Evangelion. I've obviously drawn Rei, Shinji, Asuka and Gendo here. So I've got Masato, Ritsuko, Futsuki, Maya, Shigeru, Yoshi and Unit 1 to draw still. So I've got an idea, but the only downside is that these graphics were originally intended for sort of like a mock-up of a game introduction. So I'm not really sure whether it's going to work. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not set on absolutely having to enter something, but it would be nice to. No real expectation, obviously, because I think, oh yes, I've got a really great idea that could win. It's just taking part. That's all that really matters to me. So there's some ideas surrounding that, which is cool. Let's just catch up the chat. Yeah, I wasn't going to do any of my checkmate work tonight, let's put it that way. Paul will say. The ring. What's that, Peter? The ring. So, Robert asks, are you using the Vampire Accelerated A600 and a Checkmate A1500? I have a vague recollection it was your mission, but I may be mistaken. I don't think that was myself. Maybe it was something that I mentioned, but certainly no. This is an Amiga 600 here. It's just a basic 68,000. It's like the processor obviously these machines came with. It's got 2 mega chip RAM and it's got 2 megas of fast RAM. That's it. I like to keep it simple because that way it stays very reliable, to be honest with you. Gendo's looking great. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how Gendo came out. If just a little plug here, guys. Arcade Attack is a brilliant podcast, and it's I really highly recommend it. go look for it on Spotify or whatever you use to listen to your podcast. But when unfortunately, I must have flicked off my Amiga too quickly when I first drew Gendo, and basically corrupted the files. So I redrew Gendo this week whilst listening to the Arcade Attack podcast. They did an episode. I think they probably had another one out yesterday, but last week, they had one about The Wizard, that terrible late 80s movie about the Nintendo World Championships, or what basically started that. So, ciao amico, come stai? Si, va bene, va bene. You watch my unboxing, yes. So the Checkmate still has the A500 motherboard in there and the ACA 500 Plus. Again, 68,000 based. I could put like an ACA 1221 in there, but that sits in my Amiga 1200, which is over there at the minute. So yeah, the Checkmate unfortunately is going to have to go into storage whilst I'm in Japan. There's no way I can take it with me, but the Amiga 600, I'm really hoping that I will have enough space in a suitcase to take with me. So I will have something for Amiga Island. I prefer if it was something that nobody has seen before, because there's a bit of excitement about that. But if it comes down to it, I've got plenty of stuff that I've worked on this year, which was also the second part of what I wanted to talk about tonight, because, well, 2019 has just been really great creatively. Like when I started doing all this YouTube and getting back involved in the retro gaming scene, as I mentioned in a video that I did about 4 months ago, something like that, back in the summer, I talked about, passions, manga, the Amiga, because those would be my entry points back into geekdom, shall we say, from last year. And yeah, so it's been a fabulously creative time for me. Like my imagination was pretty much dead come sort of early part of last year. I was tired, I was worn out, I didn't have an original thought in my mind. And I'm pleased to say that I now have lots of thoughts which basically involve characters that already exist. But anyway, never mind, I do have some creativity back. So I have been creating my own characters, and I do have ideas, so which is really nice. So I've been really enjoying this year. It's been really good to get into some new stuff, and I've been working on some little animations here. So basically, before this stream started, and I will be working on these later on, as you can see, I've been working on some animation work here. So if I just cut forwards a moment here, I'll show you where I've got to in a moment with this animation. So I've drawn a Akane here, so as you can see, she's looking a little bit poorly because there's only half of her there. So yes, that's not good. I guess maybe that's what happens when you commit seppuku, but but otherwise you can see that obviously she's looking a little bit big behind here. The reason for that is I've basically taken the cells that I've used for Lemmar's walk animation, and I've taken the top half of Akane, and I'm just basically adjusting the legs and so forth so that I've got a quick way of getting that walk animation done. So I think I did I did this frame. So yeah, so quite pleased with that. So I'll basically work on that this evening. That's what I'm going to be doing when, like I say, Neil and the Retro guys go live. So I'm just going to save this a minute. So actually, I feel I can do. Let's just get the frame. So it's number 18, 19, 20, so up to 20 to 12, I think. Yeah, 12 to 20. Let me just save this, and I can show you this animation as it stands. I don't want to obviously overwrite the animation I've already got, so I'll just call this not caps lock, I won't. Can't work in progress. So let me just save these frames, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload this animation, because obviously I've got all these bits of workings here in a way, so it's like Lemma's trying to creep up to Akane here. There we go. So if I just load this animation back in again, there we are. So what I was hoping to do was to finish this animation and just basically debut it at the start of this stream. As always, my ambition was overjudging my ability to actually draw all of this in time. I was actually quite productive last night. Actually managed to do quite a lot. I managed to get a few little frames done. Yeah, so it's getting there, but obviously it's going to require a little bit more work. So it's going to be a silly little animation, which results in something a little bit along the lines of this. Oh dear. Oh dearie me, what's happened? But I won't spoil what it's only a little short, but I'm basically just going to put it together in Scala, and it will just be a little bit of cuteness. So I was hoping to have it all finished before the start of the stream, but never mind. So yeah, this little animation, let me just run it here. So the frame rate should be set at 12 frames per second. Oh, not range. Oops. Set rate. Set rate. Go down there again. Yeah, 12 frames per second. So if I run this, so Grandma's doing a little bit of practice. Grandma, can't he? Okay, so that's as far as I got. A little bit of an anticlimax, that really, isn't it? But yeah, that's where I've got to so far. So Akane's going to walk in, and then other stuff will happen. So yeah, it's just a little bit of cuteness, but maybe I'll finish it over the Christmas break, because I'll take my MacBook with me and I'll be able to do a bit of do-as paintwork on that. So, but yeah, I think this is turned out really well, because one of the things I've not done enough of on my channel, with hardly anything at all in fact, is sort of more sprite-based animation. In fact, sprite work in general is something that I've not really covered a lot of. I've mostly done full screen still graphics, not even animations, although there has been a little bit of that. But yeah, so I'm sure I'm going to cover this in a little bit more detail, but I've been really enjoying doing these because they're a little bit more small scale, a little bit more manageable. And if you're wondering why they're in grayscale, well, I started off doing that because I just thought, well, that'd be a quick way of anti-aliasing, then I can colour in. But actually, I'm quite enjoying the sort of like the grayscale aesthetics. So yeah, so that's all interesting. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. So that's all good fun. What else have I been up to? Well, I got a little bit further with the other graphic I've been working on, which I'm going to use for the apparel. So yeah, everybody does expect to get more done, and that's just what it is, isn't it? Error 42. I suppose there's nothing wrong with having it. I mean, you've got to have a little bit of, I don't know, desire to do as much as you can, isn't it, with the time available to you? It's what motivates you, isn't it, I guess, maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does, actually. So yes, manga, is it in here? I think it is. Oh, thank you, Phil. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's going well. So the idea is I've got a few samples which I've managed to save out on what's it called? Audacity on my Mac. Saved them as 8 SVXs so I can synchronise them in Scala. Scala can bring in the animations, the fade effects, and it can bring brushes in with the animation and stuff. Basically, it's a way for non-programmery types like me to create something that looks smooth on a 68000 Amiga with a bit of audio on it, and yeah, just generally make it look nice, little animated short. So yeah, I have every intention to finish that. So grayscale makes it look like kind of paper cutout style. It does a bit Phil, doesn't it? In fact, it does. One of the things I was thinking of as I was doing it is I don't know how much of the anime you've watched, Phil, or indeed if you've read the manga, but there's one particular. They make more of it actually in the anime for once. There's an episode where Lanma ends up having to have a date with essentially what looks like a paper cutout panda. I'm sure the panda's got a name, but yeah, it's rather funny. But it's basically the story arc where there's the cursed paintings, isn't there? And Lanma and Genma are fighting over. I seem to think that Genmar has stolen Lanmar's octopus balls or something like that, and they crash into the marquee where this cursed painting has been unveiled, and it releases the bad spirit, which turns out to be his paper cut-out panda, which is very funny. So it does put me in mind of that. So, and also the other thing which has been really interesting, actually thinking about it stylistically, is actually rewatching the whole Lanmar anime, which, you know, does have its weak points. There's no doubt about it. Particularly when you get to, like, you know, series 3 and 4, it has quite a significant lull. You know, it's like series 1 and series 7 was probably the high points, and series 6, I guess, of the actual anime. But within that, you have all of the openings, and I think I want to say it's season 2, but I might be wrong. But there's it's the season where they close with Lai Boy. I think that's season 2, or it might even be part of season 3. But basically, it's they have these little screwed up little sort of like the heads of the characters and stuff. And in fact, actually, that's what informed the exercise, because I had to do like a recorded lesson of you know, my application to do the teaching in Japan, and I actually use that look in how I did my directions lesson for my application for Interac, and that's kind of permeated my work actually, and I'm pretty sure it's the end of season 2, but it's rather good nonetheless. So, and I suppose actually overall that's why I quite like this, and yeah, so it's pretty cute really, but I'm really pleased also with the way that Lanmar turns around as well, because I think one of the things that puts people off for doing pixel animations, they think to themselves, well, how am I going to get my character to turn around? But actually, the frames are so short, it's the same as any animation, that actually you can whip basically the you know, the character around with just a simple flip quite easily. So yeah, don't be afraid of that. So, and I'm sure I'm going to cover this in more detail, and because obviously speech bubbles have hiragana in them. I'm still very much in the beginning of learning Japanese, but I just thought it'd be cool to do it with hiragana in there, because obviously the Amiga is a very Western-centric machine. I thought it needed a little bit of the East brought onto it. So, and yeah, so which is what I've pretty much been doing all year, really, isn't it? Let's be honest, and last year as well. So that's my little take on it all. Yeah, in fact, actually, those little bits that I was on about. So yeah, so basically, I'm sure it was. I'll do it full screen here. Ooh, come on, Emma, this way. Actually, it makes more sense for me to do this, doesn't it? Oh, this is... I can't do it. There you go. Yeah, although it's Lama-kun. But yeah, so I did these little characters, like so. And unfortunately, Shampoo ended up looking like she had a few too many noodles. A little bit podgy looking there, but these were literally drawn in about 3 minutes flat. There's a Carney. Ooh, come over here. There you go, that's done it. So, Merry Christmas there, Grim Gun Renegade. Thank you, that's very sweet of you, and I hope you have a fabulous Christmas yourself. So, silly stream tonight, really, just me gassing about 2019. So, you know, and just how fabulous it has been to share it with you all, and yeah, I've just been really, really having a lot of fun. So yeah, so I did these little characters because I just thought, well, how am I going to spice up a directions lesson? So I thought, well, let's borrow something from that opening which I was just describing. I can't actually hold this, but I have no idea what I'm doing here with trying to hold these. Ugh, it's so difficult. But basically, I just said, well, so, and I gave them, you know, sort of English names, you know, sort of, I think Lanmar was Robert. R for Robert, obviously, and I don't know, I think Shampoo became Rachel. I'm not sure who I called Akane. Maybe she was Rachel, but anyway, or maybe she was Kate. So anyway, so because it wouldn't make sense for me to give these Japanese names if I've applied to basically do teaching in Japan, teaching English in Japan. So the idea was I drew out this grid on a big piece of A2 paper, and then basically I said, so okay, so here's Robert. He wants to try and find Kate, or whatever I called Akane, and how are they going to do it? So I basically did it with these pieces, rather than saying, oh, here's a boring drawing of... So, to be honest with you, that's what I want to do. I mean, like, when I was younger, I was intended going into teaching, you know, like primary school age children, which is like sort of 4 to 11 years old. And so this was always what I wanted to do, was bring sort of my creative side into sort of what I do, and I've just not been doing it for, well, obviously the photography I have been, that's a different kettle of fish. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, it's a little bit silly, but yeah, if you just Google or go on YouTube and just type in this is really getting on my nerves now. Right, I had to do that, sorry guys. It was itching so much. Man. Oh, right, okay. You can see I'm not really one of these streamers that does it with a voyeuristic point of view, shall we say. Oh, man. Yeah, so, I now look a real mess. Whatever. So yeah, so that's basically been one of the things I've been up to this year. So I'll try and find that outro, but if you look at it on YouTube, you'll find it. So yeah, so that's been good fun. Oh, man, that was really beginning to dig into my forehead. So there she is. Yeah, I'm back. So oh man, that was really hurting my head after a while. Yeah, it seems like a good idea at the time, but yeah. Where have I been? Oh, sorry. Somebody just poured a kettle of cold water over me, so even colder water, so yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so it's been a really cool year. I've really enjoyed it. And also another big highlight for me was Tim, who sometimes drops into chat, Sanjian. Hopefully I'm seeing him on Monday evening. Basically, the other big thing was actually getting hold of a PC engine this year. I'll just unplug it a moment. Otherwise I'll only end up snagging cables. So obviously it's got my Terra Onion SD system free on there, but getting a PC engine at last was a real highlight. Along with the Super Nintendo, I have to say that this is, and the PlayStation, those three are my favourite consoles really. This one is toughing it out with the PlayStation and the SNES for #1 sports, so to warm and itchy, oh man, that's so itchy. And so how I worked a whole day with that on my head, I have no idea. I lasted about 45 minutes there. Oh. Hey there, Sabretooth, how you doing? So hope you're well. So yeah, so yeah, getting this, and thanks to Tim and Gary for helping me source one of these. It literally is one of the nicest consoles you can get. So, and along with the Amiga 600, I'm hoping to take the PC Engine back home to Japan next year, and yeah, that'll be really I'm going to have to do the rest with emulation though, really, I think, because, you know, as much as it'd be great fun to take a Super Nintendo and an Amiga 1200 and a Mega Drive and all the rest of it, there's only so much space, isn't there? So yes, Merry Christmas, Chris Toast, hope you're well. So yeah, it's yeah, so yeah, thank you. You're really well. Oh good, I'm glad to hear it, Sabretooth. So yes, yeah, pretty much ready. I've got to pack my bags because I'm going down to Devon for Christmas, as that's where my parents live. Last sort of Christmas, before I go away, I do intend on obviously coming back next year at Christmas time, but you just never know, do you? Who knows, but financially and all the rest of it, but I do have every intention of being back for next Christmas. But it's important to spend time with family, so apart from packing the bag, that's what I'm doing. So yes, I hope you're all ready for Christmas as well, maybe braving those shops and all that kind of stuff. Phil, you're jealous of the PC Engine. Oh man, yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this machine, because once you take the SD system free off it, oh god, there you go. Don't like doing that very often, but yeah, it's just the tiniest of things, isn't it? I mean, if you want a comparison, there's my Amiga mouse, and it's not much bigger than that, is it really? And yet it's one of the coolest consoles that you can get, if you ask me. So yeah, it does cost a lot of money, doesn't it, the Lemming kind, and you're absolutely right. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but I think it was about €200. I think they may have gone up in price slightly now, but yeah, they do cost a small fortune. But I factored that in when I decided that I was going to get the PC Engine. Yeah, there should be a lot of PC Engines over there already. So exactly, Just 80. If I don't manage to, excuse me, take this with me, at least I'll be able to pick one up relatively easily over there. And maybe I'll just take the SD system free with me, for example. So it's not that difficult. But who knows? Maybe the Amiga 600 will be the first Amiga 600 to set foot in Japan. Although I rather doubt it somehow. But I wouldn't bet against me being one of the first people to bring one through the airport there. So I got enough strange looks at Gatwick Airport taking the Amiga 600 to Ireland this year. So. 3-button mouse. Does your middle, the middle button on this mouse? Actually, probably, but I should use a commodity that has 3-button support. Something like MCP, was it, or MCX? One of those commodities for the Amiga will probably map this to something. But no, it's not doing anything at the moment on my Amiga 600. Just left and right only. So. Error 42, I have no intention of Japan being a permanent move, but I don't know how long it's going to be for. It might be for a year, it might be for 2 years, it could be for 20 years. It's so difficult to tell, but the thing that will bring me back is family, fundamentally. You know, like, I don't have a massive family, but ultimately I don't want to be only seeing my mum and dad and my brothers only once a year, really, in the long term. I want to be able to see a bit more of them. So yes, it's one of the things that's held me back of actually going before now, but taking a plunge. So exactly, just head to Akihabara, as Phil says, whilst there to get my retro fix. You're so right, Phil. Yes. So error 42, you're absolutely right. Yes, probably doesn't do anything. Actually, Amiga OS will support a 3rd button, believe it or not. So there were a few games, as Phil says, though, like Turrican 2 will support the 2nd button. So will R-Type 2, if you can stomach playing that on the Amiga. Some people really like R-Type 2 on the Amiga, but I'm not really one of them. The frame rate is just too lackluster, really, to get smooth gameplay out of it. It's impressive. Don't get me wrong, the artwork looks fabulous on it. It's miles better than the Atari ST version, but you're sooner off better playing R-Type 2 on the R-Types compilation, which I mentioned in the R-Type video. So yeah, that's probably the best way to play it at home. Although I think you can now get both the original R-Type and R-Type 2 on the Nintendo Switch, and probably PS4 and Xbox and all that kind of stuff. I'm not very well up on all of that stuff, so. But yeah, so a bit of a strange stream, this one. In the end, I was hoping to do a lot of gaming, but I didn't really want to, because the thing is that Retro Man Cave and the Retro Hours stream, which is starting in about 10 minutes, guys. I'll post a link in the chat. It's for charity. It's for charity, mate. And I didn't really want to distract from, you know, a good cause. So I'll be basically just flipping this onto full screen in about 10 minutes or so. And you'll probably see me in the chat on that stream, and you know, and just do my artwork whilst like you guys, I listen to and watch that, really. So you was going to move to New York in your early 20s, Error 42. Can't understand how I was prepared to do that now. Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Error 42? When you're younger, I don't know whether it's because you don't think things through in the way that you do when you get older. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's different for different people, but I do suspect that most things like that do become a little bit more tricky as you get older, regardless of, you know, family, or, you know, whether you've got children or whatever it is, you know, those kinds of commitments. I think obviously that is a major factor in stopping people doing things, but I think also there is the sense, and I certainly have felt this creeping on with me in my years. When I was younger, I'd basically go off to places knowing full well that I didn't have enough money really to see me for the whole time that I was in whatever place that it was that I was going to, like for example going to the States. But yeah, I still did it, thinking that I'll find a way of making it through, kind of thing, on virtually no money, and yeah, I did. May have done a bit of cheeky work on the side, but just don't tell the IRS. But not talking big bucks here, you know. But yeah, yeah. So, but then as you get older, you get a little bit more. I don't know. It's almost like fear starts controlling your decisions more, doesn't it? And so, but I have to say, the more that I've actually got towards actually everything happening with Japan, the more it's just become normalised to me. It now seems very doable. I think having stuff is one of the big problems about, you know, I've got no problem letting go of any of this stuff, but it's just actually all the hassle of dealing with it all that's more the thing. So, Robert, it's a good question. I only found out yesterday, Morioka, so the north of Japan. I knew I was going to the north, but it was just a matter of where. So it could have been Hokkaido, obviously, you know, it could have been the far north in Aomori or Akita. So I'm pretty much just south of Aomori, and yeah, so and just to the east of Akita, which is pretty much where I wanted to be, to be honest with you. Whether I'll be in Morioka or another town sort of in that area, but that's where I'll be headed to. So it's pretty much where I wanted to be. You know, like I wanted to explore a more rural Japan and see how that, you know, inspires my artwork, both in terms of the pixel art, but also my digital art in general, and also just my art in general. I have lots of plans of how I'm going to infuse that and bring that to you through the videos on the channel. So as ultimately the whole YouTube adventure and this whole adventure through retro was kickstarted by me taking a hike in the lowlands of Scotland, down in the forest of Galloway, or the Galloway not country park, is it? But there's like it's got a name. I think it is just a Galloway Forest Park, a very overlooked part of Scotland, if you ask me. It's absolutely stunning. And I was just hiking up what is a hill, really, but it's about 2,500 feet in elevation. And yeah, the idea for getting back into this and what I was going to do and all the rest, it came to me about almost 2 years ago now, hiking up there, and so it feels like that's going in full circle, really. So, hey there, Kev, how you doing? Hey there, DP Small. Hello from New Zealand. Oh, thank you, that's so kind. Yeah, sorry you missed most of it, don't worry, no problems, yeah, because we're going to wrap this up in about... the channel will still be on, as I say. I'll be drawing, I'll be listening to the RMC and Retro stream in a moment, so I'm sure I'll see you guys there. But yeah, I know I'm going to love Japan. I'm going to be crying my eyes out at Heathrow Airport when it comes to it, when leaving, you know, saying goodbye to family. But it feels like, it feels very real now. It feels like it's the right thing to do, so... You've never been farther north than Tokyo, Robert. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. So I hope you're well, Pixel, and Merry Christmas. So yeah, exactly. Error 42, you're right. It's not always easy, but sometimes you just got to hold your nose and go for it. And actually, you know, what started off as a list of reasons why I can't do it started into a list of things just to get done, and we're getting them done. It's, you know, I'm going to have a big gap in my income. I'm taking a £700 pay cut to do this work. I'm going to have a massive gap in covering my UK-based costs, but I have every faith that within a year I'll have found a way of plugging that. So you already hit the like button. Ah, thank you. Yeah, because you know Kev's going to encourage you guys. So yeah, I know it's a bit of a catch me up stream. I'm going to do a video for my Patreon subscribers tomorrow. So if you're on Patreon, do look out for that. But if you're interested in you know, sort of supporting me through Patreon, which will help give me the time to do the artwork and stuff in Japan, so I'm not having to find ways of earning a little bit of extra money, shall we say. That would be amazing. From $5 a month, you'll get exclusive access to the videos a bit sooner, and also some artwork in a post, which I'm hoping to send out in January. So yeah. Thanks, Chris. It's very kind. Yeah, it is an adventure. It really is. And, you know, my Japanese is very, well, it's almost non-existent, really, let's be honest. It's very basic. You know, I can introduce myself pretty much, so, you know, hajimashite, Victoria San des, Iguritsu Jin des, Sanju Rokusai des, Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. That's about it, really, you know. And I mean, I pretty much learned hiragana and katakana now, so. And so I just think immersion is going to force my hand, and yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm always being a bit crazy like that. So yeah, the dilemma, but yeah, don't feel any pity for my dilemma at all, because let's face it, you know, an amazing adventure awaits that lots of people would wish that they can do, but for many reasons can't. So I consider myself very fortunate to have this opportunity, and yeah. So yes, that's 2019, folks. By all means, leave the stream on if you want to see me working on a little Llama 1/2 animation down the bottom right hand corner there. I'm going to turn the audio off, guys, because I'm going to basically find the Retro Hour and Retro Man Cave game stream, which is about to start in the next couple of minutes, so let me just find it for you folks. But I just want to extend to you a very Merry Christmas, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, whether you, you know, it doesn't matter, but just I hope you have a very happy holidays, and I can only wish you all a very happy New Year. I'm not a major one for making New Year's resolutions, and I suppose I only have two real mantras. Number one, be the change that you want to see in the world. And number two, now is as good a time as any to make a change in your life if you really want to. So, but otherwise, just carry on being awesome, folks. Thank you for all of your support this year. I've truly enjoyed your company. I can't emphasise that enough, and you know, and I hope to see many of you in Amiga Ireland or on the swag meetings. But don't worry, the channel's going nowhere. Even though I might be 8,000 miles away, I'll still be around. And yeah, so Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. Let me just find the link to that stream. So I think it's actually on Dan's channel. So Dan, I typed in Dan Abbott there. Dan and Ravi mashup. So Dan Wood. Let's find him. There he is. So they've got 6 watching, which means I think I've actually got more watching me, so maybe I shouldn't have cancelled my plans. But I do hope to see some of you over there. Here we go. Hopefully the links come through, guys. See you in 2020, Robert. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, thank you, Phil. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you have a very peaceful and warm holiday period, everybody. And yeah, so the stream's going to continue with me doing the drawing. But otherwise, I will see you over in the other chat, probably. And yeah, just take care of yourselves, everybody. And much love to you all. Bye! Just got to do this properly now. Man, that wig was itchy.
to enter a new, a new, a new,
complete darkness, in complete darkness, in complete darkness, in complete darkness, in complete darkness, we are all the same. In complete darkness, we are all the same. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us.
Easy, easy, easy.
Easy, 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 easy. Yes, I can. Easy, easy. Take complete control. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Take complete control. Yes, I can. Easy, 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 easy. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. intention. I'm going to bring my one up here, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up here, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up here, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up here, yeah? Lower intention. Lower intention.
to enter a new, a new, a new.
In complete darkness. In complete darkness, we are all the same. In complete darkness, we are all the same. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. In complete darkness, we are all the same. It is only our knowledge and wisdom that separates us.
Easy, easy, easy. Yes, I can. Take complete control. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Take complete control. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring back one dub for you, yeah? Lower intention. intention. I'm going to bring my one up for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up for you, yeah? Lower intention. I'm going to bring my one up for you, yeah? Lower intention. Lower intention.
Incomplete